For me, that's the home.
Oh, did you?
Rabbi, you want Coke?
No,
Coke here.
that's fine. Seltzer is much better. Thanks. Thank you.
These colors are not the same.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
What's the topic?
Topic is kashering a microwave.
No. I get wind in my favorite.
You ever do you have a microwave at home?
No, not anymore. Nope.
What did you do
I,
in the end?
I don't want it. It was milky, flavored, covering it, not so bad. Oh,
So get two.
Get three.
But then what happens if you forget which one is which?
It's right on it.
Milk fleshig, yeah.
That's your good. It's what I.
Yeah. Everything is hashgacha pratis. Everything is divinely instigated, or there's providence in every detail in our lives.
To begin with, I don't know if that's healthy the way it's being cooked.
That's a different thing.
Yeah. All right. So last week Sunday, I was checking out a house to see if my family should buy it. And I saw the kitchen was remodeled and it had all the very nice appliances. So one of the things was a very large microwave.
Who was it?
One. So I was thinking, oh wow, it's like we don't even have to remodel anything, not even in the kitchen. Then I was thinking, but the owner is not Jewish. The seller is not Jewish.
You have to do that kitchen.
Oh boy. So then I was thinking, okay, so what do I do? So I was thinking, okay, maybe I should just, throw out the microwave. Like, what do I do? So I started looking into if it's possible to kosher the microwave, if you need to. I was looking into it then. Just a few minutes later, Rabbi Morozov sent me a text asking me if I could give a shiur this coming Sunday. So I'm like, oh my goodness, perfect. So now I'll look into it and then give a shiur about it. So everything is mashkacha pratis. Yeah. So just a caveat, it's important to note that I'm not giving a halachic ruling over here. I'm just going to give you the different perspectives, and then it's important to ask your own Rav what is possible to be done, because being a Rav is not just to know the information, even though that is crucial to coming up with a psak, but it's also important to know the person and to know the what's gonna be created based on the psak. So it's not just a cold ruling psak, but it's more than that. So we need to ask a Rav what to do, and therefore I also need to ask a Rav what to do about this. So even though I just looked into the different perspectives, but it's also important for me to go and ask a Rav what's actually needed. Even even to be more machmir is also an issue. Just to say, okay, I'm not going to have the microwave and that's it. Maybe that's also a problem. So it's important to ask a Rav. So first of all, let's before we come up to the question of what if a microwave is able to be kashered, first we must understand what a microwave is and what it does. Someone mentioned if it's healthy or not. So, in order to know if it's healthy or not, and also if it's able to be kosher, we need to understand what happens in the microwave. So, if you ever looked into the microwave, you could see that the walls of the microwave do not get hot, or most of the times it does not get hot, which seems kind of funny. The food that's inside is getting hot, but the actual walls of the microwave tends to not get hot unless it's touched by unless the steam from the food um, gets it touches the walls, and then it would get hot. But inherently, it's not getting hot. Like with an oven is different. What happens? You have a fire that is wherever it is, on top, on the bottom of the oven, and that heats up its surroundings. Obviously, it itself is hot. It's a fire, and it heats up the surrounding areas, and then it gets to the food, and it heats gradually. It heats up the item. Starts with the crust. That's why, let's say, there is even such a thing as a crust, because that's the thing that's hitting the fire, or the fire is hitting it more directly,
With
and then
crust
the
of what?
inside.
What's the crust? The crust is on the microwave? The microwave?
No, with an oven.
Oh,
With an oven. Right. So that's what you would think is is an issue, because it's hot. The walls of the oven is getting hot, and it is
absorbent.
absorbing the, let's say, the meat, the aroma from the meat, so then it becomes fleshig. Now, if you were to put a piece of a piece of pizza into the oven and heat it up, now the walls are gonna let out the taste from the meat, and then that taste is gonna get into the pizza, and then you're gonna have milk and meat pizza, which
But
is
you said the walls don't get hot.
right. So this is the oven. This is with a regular oven. So then it would make sense. Okay, so how do I kosher? How do I make sure that it stays a fleshig? How do we make it back to, let's say, a fleshig oven, even after by mistake you would put some cheese, some milk product into the oven and heat it up? Is by heating up the oven, first cleaning it and then heating up the oven, because then that will take out that, if you heat it up to that highest level of let's say a deep clean or something like that, so that will take out whatever residue there is of the milk, and then it's back to square one, where you're able to use it as a fleshig oven.
Can I just ask a question about the oven? If you took the pizza and you put it in an aluminum pan and you covered it, and the oven, wall is fleshig, is that okay? Because you're covering it with aluminum pan and a cover.
Right. So you would, in general, in theory, you're correct. If there's no, if there's no,
It's not open.
it's not hitting the aroma there. If it's like vacuum sealed, then in theory that would be correct. Problem is that in day-to-day life, there are times that even if it is covered, it'll still ease out. It's not like a hermetic, what is it called? It's not hermetically sealed. Um, so in such an instance, it's important to ask a Rav, like, okay, so what do I do? If it was covered and it was by mistake, if it's on purpose, that could also be an issue, because we don't it's better not to play um with such things, because it's important to eat kosher food. But yeah, in such an instance, it's important to ask a Rav what actually needs to be done. It could be that there's no reason to kosher it. It could be they'll just say to clean it. Um, like there could be many different, yeah, but that is a caveat. It's important to pick that up. And that will actually mention with a microwave, because that could be a way to get away with not kosher the microwave. So that is with a regular oven. So now, when for sure at first when microwaves started, Rabbanim were asked, what needs to be done. What if we need a kasher, if we're able to kasher, and some rabbanim said, no, you don't need to kasher the oven. Why? Because if we look back, if we take the uh, the um, the example of a regular oven, that is not happening with a microwave. The walls are not getting heated up. They're not getting they're not getting to a temperature that it will absorb the the actual let's say meat or milk or just non-kosher food or maybe chametz if you want to kosher it for Pesach. So they would say, no, you don't need to kosher the microwave. Now the issue with that is that in practice that's not really what's happening. Yes, it's not getting heat, getting um it's not absorbing the same way as a regular oven through heat, but it is absorbing the the aroma, the taste of the food through steam. Now we know that steam is one of the ways that something will gain the taste of something else. Like for example, like in my work, I work in a Jewish accounting firm, and they have a I either a cold water dispenser or a hot water dispenser. Now, the hot water dispenser, there's a sign right on top of it saying that to keep the thing kosher, if you want to get hot water, you need to only use uh, uh, foam, either a cup, like a plastic cup, not a, not a plastic cup, let's say a foam cup or a paper cup, something like that, instead of using the actual receptacle, the actual, let's say, coffee, the actual coffee or something like that. Why? Because if you see what happens is exactly the hot water. It's very hot. If you would touch the hot water, it's it won't get the first degree burns. Hopefully, it's the settings are not on such a high level, but you're not going to get you're going to see that there's steam that's going up to the spout, and then it goes down and goes up and down, and now the spout by the hot water dispenser is going to be full of whatever it is. Let's say if there's coffee, there might be milk inside it, so now it becomes a milkshake, and then you want to heat up something else, and it might become milchig just because now the steam just connected the molecules of the taste from the previous milk, the previous coffee, and now when you're trying to use the hot water for something else, now you become fleshig. Especially if it's within 24 hours, because then the taste isn't ruined; it's still potent within those 24 hours. It's yeah. So something like that, we know that vapor creates a connection between the two tastes. So if that's the case, so then getting back to the microwave, we still have the issue of the taste that's coming, the taste that's coming through the steam from the food. Because what happens with the microwave? The microwave creates radio waves, and that bounces off the metal of of the walls, and it into food, enters into the food, and it makes the water molecules within the food to move fast and so fast that it creates heat But that is only the food itself. If there's the walls don't have air, don't have water molecules itself, so it does not. The waves don't create heat by the walls. The problem is that the heat from the food, the heat from the water molecules from the food might create spritching. The water might spritch from the food onto the walls. And then as soon as some air water molecules, right? Obviously, there's let's say tomato sauce let's say spaghetti and meatball has tomato sauce on it. Now the tomato sauce will maybe spritz. Now the tomato sauce itself obviously has water molecules, and then that itself is also going to get hot. Now the walls are touching it's touching the walls. So the walls, because it's touching that water molecule, it's going to create heat by that space also. The same thing also if you look in your microwave after when you take the food out, you'll realize that the glass plate tends to get hot itself. And if you look even closer, if you even feel it around, not right away because it could get very hot. But you'll see that whatever was actually touching the food, that becomes hot. Even a centimeter off is not hot. Why? Because it's not getting touched by the by that food. Great. So then, if that's the case, so then it does cause there are let's say meat in the case of spaghetti and meatballs, there is the taste and the aroma from the meat product that's getting absorbed into
Can I just add something?
sure.
Someone told me this many, many years ago that what they do is that they would take a cup of water and put it in the microwave and let it, evaporate.
Right.
And that supposedly,
That's what it's saturated.
supposedly,
Right. Right. Very good. Very good.
it doesn't work anymore.
It is one of the ways that Rabbanim say to kasher the microwave. Right. That's when I was in um maybe when we went to a went on vacation for a few days, and I guess maybe I just Googled it or something, and it said like to put a cup and great. No, I didn't look into all the details, but okay. Yeah. But I didn't look
Yeah, what can you do? I didn't really hear you.
right. So let's get to the waves. So first of all, there are opinions that you don't even need to kosher it because it's not absorbing anything. Now, the problem is that in the Metzius, like what's actually happening is that it is absorbing from the steam. So that we can't really, at least unless we're just going to use it as a backup to our psak. But most, if not all, paskim won't say that you don't have to um, kasher the microwave. But okay, so first of all, we know that we have to kasher it in order to use it if it's deemed unkosher or if we want to start using it for Pesach, which is another issue we'll get to. So that's first of all. Now we need to know if it is actually possible to kasher it. Now, there's a few issues. First of all, if it didn't absorb through if it didn't absorb through heat, then how do you even kosher it? And anyways, usually when we kosher something, there's two ways to do it: either by blowtorching it, by using fire to use it, or by having it immersed in hot water. That's usually when you say that you're going to kosher something, you're either going to put it in hot water, or
You ever kasher an oven?
That's how it's
Yeah,
cooked. That's what kind of vessel it is.
You ever kasher an oven by putting it in hot water?
right, you don't, but you use heat. Let's say either a blowtorch. Right. So with a microwave, please don't try two things: either to put it in hot water, and for sure not to blowtorch it. Don't even try. Others have tried and have realized that it has not been able to be used after blowtorching it. It's very important. It's like there's a story with Rabbi Kefet and Rabbi Aaron Lichtenstein. They were they were kashering a IDF kitchen, and someone brought a frying pan and said that it was used somehow it needed to be kosher. I don't know for what. I don't remember for what reason. So they were like, okay, you need to get it heated up to the level of that it's going to get either sparks either sparks flowing out of it, or or red enough. So they put it on the fire. They put it to that level, and it just broke. Either broke or just splattered all over. So like you could try to kasher it, but then it's not going to be usable. So what's the point? First, it's dangerous, but either way, like it's not going to be used. So if that's the case, going back to the microwave, there's no way to kasher it in the regular sense, either by heat or by immersing it in hot water. So that you can't do it. But if we're going to go by what are we really doing by kashering something? We are going to try to take whatever causes it to not be able to be used. We want to try to extract it the same way that it was received. Just that would make sense. If you're gonna if something became, let's say, fleischigs through heat, which means it was on a fire, on an open flame, and you were frying or you were heating up some meat on the flame. So now obviously it became fleischigs through flame. So now in order to extract that meat from the object, you're going to want to use fire to extract it. That's one of the cardinal one of the main theories that you need to understand when we're capturing something. So if that's the case, now getting back to the microwave, the same way it received the fleischigs or the milchigs or chametz, whatever, or non-kosher food, so now you're going to want to take it out. You're going to want to extract it. So as going back to the details of it, obviously we already realized that the way it became that way is through steam. So now, how are you going to do it? You're going to steam it itself, and now it's going to extract whatever it had, and now it's back to square one. It's as if it's new. So like our good friend here mentioned, what's your first name?
Daniel.
Daniel mentioned about using a cup of water and heating it up. That would cause
Most people don't.
right. That would cause steam it depends on how long it is. Some people say 2 to 4 minutes, some people say 5 minutes, some say 10 minutes, some say 20 minutes. So what I would do is ask my Rav of like how if we're gonna use that way of kashering, one of the main things is to know how long.
But
It's
first,
a-
you have to clean the micro very, very well, and then put the cup, let the water bounce.
Right, very good. Because, well, two things. Two things. Well, we're going to need to first make it clean. Why? Because kashering something is to extract the taste or the aroma that's within an object. So that is not actual, let's say, meat or milk or cheese. It's not the actual food. It's only the byproduct of that food. But if there's actual meat there or actual juice that's fleshig, so then that is much more of a cardinal thing because what's going to happen? That actual food might get into the food, that piece of food might get into your new plate of other food. Let's say if it's flesh, now you're going to put some milchigs in it, and might combine into your food, and now it becomes a milk and meat plate that we're not allowed to eat. So that, like you mentioned, it's important to have it clean.
Very well.
Just not to very well that the walls cease to exist. So you don't use a steel wall, or maybe you do, but just yeah.
Another question, isn't the radiation from the microwave, is it dangerous for the food? That you could inside the microwave with radiation from the magnetron.
Right. There's theories one way or the other. What most people will say that it's not an issue. Some people say it still is an issue. And I'm not a scientist. So I can't really give a expert opinion.
You go to a restaurant, you use microwave.
Soda and the
Huh?
You go to a restaurant, they all use microwaves.
Coke.
Ah, do you hear this? If you go to a restaurant, most most
Yeah.
restaurants use a microwave.
Yeah.
So
High pressure, a lot of micro.
okay. But then okay. So first of all, we need to make sure it's clean. Why? Because the meat, the actual product of either milchig or fleshig, that won't be fixed through koshering. That will still exist. Now, not just that, also 24 hours needs to wait because we need to wait from 24 hours since it was used
Right.
last, because for another reason. The walls of the microwave have the byproduct of the food. Now, if the byproduct of the food are within 24 hours, then it's going to enhance the food. Let's say it's going to it's going to be healthy enough, and strong, potent enough, and that that it will add taste to the food that you're microwaving. But after 24 hours, whatever byproduct there is in the walls, it already ceases to be so potent, and it's going to do is just going to ruin the it's nice and tam lefkam. It's already um it's not so potent. It's only going to ruin whatever food you have. So therefore, you're going to wait 24 hours. Now, it's also important to realize that it's not 24 hours since you finish cleaning, right? It's not 24 hours since you finished cleaning. It's 24 hours since you last used it. So if you spend 24 hours cleaning it, very, very, like what you mentioned, that you clean it very, very well. If you spend 24 hours, you don't have to wait another 24 hours till you kasher it. So that's an important caveat to realize. Okay.
The general rule for costing is a very strict call, possible at all.
Right.
So I say that you can just put some dish of water, a bowl of water in the microwave and heat it up.
Yeah.
That's costing it.
Right. Right. Very good. That's what most Rabbanim will say. It's hard to find I haven't seen a Kasher that mentions that they don't kasher microwaves. So it's probably just established. It could be that maybe Pesach is different, but we'll get there. Hopefully we'll have time. Okay, so as we mentioned a few times, well, we're gonna use water that we're gonna heat up on high to however many minutes it is till it fully steams the walls, and now it extracts whatever there is, and it's as if it's new. The problem is that if you look inside a microwave, you'll see a vent on the side, right? You'll see some holes. Well, first of all, I don't know what it is. You'll see some holes on the side. Now, what that is it lets the ear out so that the ear doesn't become stationary. There's like a vent to the side. Now, the problem, I don't know the reason why. I didn't look into the mechanics of why it's important, but for whatever reason, there is the vent. But for our purposes, we have to realize, okay, now we have to put it into context. When we're koshering the walls, when we're koshering the walls through the water, is that getting into that vent? Now you'd say, okay, obviously it is getting into that vent because the steam is entering over there. Now the problem is, like what you mentioned, it has to be clean. There's no way, unless you take apart the entire microwave, there's no way to access the vent. Right? There's no way to access the vent, and the taste of all of the food enters the vent. Like let's say,
Goes out, bro.
not fully. There could be
Once it goes into the vent, does it come back?
No.
Does it taste? It goes into the vent. Does it come back into the microwave?
yeah. It goes back and forth. It's an opening. There's no way to know that it won't go. It won't go. Now, whatever food is there, there's an established fact that when we're koshering, we have to make sure that it's clean, that it's clean. If we're not able to clean it, we need to ask a Rav like what to do. If it's, let's say, an oven that has grease, sometimes it's very hard to clean it perfectly. So now you need to know what to do. But when we get to the microwave, there's no way to get to the vent. So what do we do? So what halachic authorities say is to um, is to cover the vent. Now, I didn't see if that means that you have to always cover the vent afterward. And then I didn't check if that's even healthy or it could damage the microwave or it could damage the food. So I don't know. I don't know about that. Does anyone know has anyone ever covered the vent of a microwave? But it seems an established thing that by when you're koshering it, you want to cover the vent. You want to cover the vent. Now, another thing, a detail in the oven in the microwave is there's the glass plate. There's the glass there's the glass plate where you actually put the food on, and that rotates. Actually, the reason why you want to rotate the food in the oven in the microwave is because the waves don't go. The waves are waves. It goes up and down, up and down. So it doesn't end up hitting every part of the food. Only like sometimes if you were to um, either not use the rotating um, plate, or it's for a short period of time. It's a possibility. Let's say if you were to put chicken or something like that, that some parts of the chicken will be piping hot, and then a little you take another piece and it's cold. The reason is because you have the waves. The waves is doesn't hit each part of it. So therefore, there is the rotating disc, the glass plate that causes the waves to hit everything. That's besides why it's important to have the glass. Now the problem is that the glass itself becomes hot. We already established that the water molecules of the food start shaking to an atomic level that it creates heat. So anything that's touching it also becomes hot. If it's not touching it, it wouldn't become hot. So that glass plate is becoming hot anytime you're putting food on it and heating it up in the microwave. So that glass plate is either fleshig or milchig. It's not parv unless you're only eating
You have
parv
any ideas
food
how
on it.
to kasher it?
So that comes into another issue is are you even able to kosher glass?
Yeah.
Right. So um, I'm I don't feel comfortable enough to say yes or no because it's anytime I checked it out, there's a caveat one way or the other. So I think it's important just to ask Rav what to do about the glass. Some people say
What did the rabbi say?
I didn't ask the rabbi.
Get a Tom doesn't go into the glass.
Um, the Tom, it does the taste. I mean, if you were to put, let's say, actual food on that plate right after you heated up something, you would gain the taste of whatever that other food was.
Glass?
The glass, why not?
You can eat a glass.
So whatever. So either you could just buy another glass, or just not use it.
Or you get one glass for fleshik, one glass for milchig, and
That's a separate issue because we try not to um use something back and forth for milchiks or fleishiks. But even if
okay.
like meaning koshering one way or the other, the reason is even though inherently, obviously, like what are you saying? You can't. If you koshered it, so then it's halacha itself says that it's back to square one. So what are you saying back to milking things? The problem is that when you're koshering, you're inherently taking a chance that it won't be 100% kosher or done in a perfect way. So you're already, even though halacha is saying that yes, you don't have to be worried that it's not going to be 100%. So you're not going to get to that level, but if we're going to already become established that we go back and forth, then you're already taking a chance. So Rabbanim will usually tell you to not.
One microwave over here for replacing, one microwave over there.
Right.
No, that's a simple.
Right.
How about-
Or just use it like what I did. I'm not going to say that this is what everyone should do. I grew up, let's say, I grew up in Baruch Hashem in a from household, and we had an oven. My parents had an oven that was used milchig on one side, fleischig on the other side. Now,
Again, in one oven.
in the stovetop, not the oven, sorry, not the oven, chas
That's
v'shalom.
what I'm saying.
The stovetop. One side,
That's
one side milk and one side fleischig, and that's how I grew up. Then when we got married, it was maybe within the first month or so, I was heating up meatballs, and I was heating up. That's okay.
No,
I forgive you. On the fleischig side, and I'm sitting there, and each time I heat up the meatballs, even with a cover, something spouts to the something spill some of the sauce flies to the other side. So
So you
first
take
I
the-
was annoyed that I have to sit and clean it. I have to sit and clean it every time.
Don't spill it.
And don't spill it in it, yeah. But then I realized, like, what? Now I'm gonna have to, kasher it each time I have a meatball. So either I don't have meatballs, or I'm gonna kasher it each time. So then we made up that we anyways don't eat milchigs hardly ever, or at least not heat up milchigs. So we'll just use the stovetop both sides for fleischig. So and that's just what I do myself. But I'm not gonna like to say that you need to use milk. You have two different microwaves. Maybe just have one microwave and only use it for plate. I'm not here to tell you.
Rabbi,
Like what you
if
should
you're
do
at the
specific.
hotel and it's not kosher oven, and I'm getting 1 tin of kosher for me, double tin, those
Right.
good, put it in, that's okay.
Right. Oh, so that's another thing. So now, with the hot water, well, first of all, if you're going to do the steam thing, if we're going to heat up water in a cup or in or something that in the microwave, it's important to do it twice, to move it to another place the second time, because right under that foam cup, it's not getting steamed. Steam is not hitting that. So you're going to want to move it to another place on, let's say, you take out the glass plate if you're gonna, unless you're told that you could use the glass plate for whatever reason. If you're gonna, let's say, take out the glass plate, you're gonna put it on the floor of the microwave. You're gonna put it in one place for up to ask your Rav about how many minutes, and then you put in new water. You do it another in the other place. So then at least that space under it, which we already established is probably the most of an issue, because that's actually hitting the food itself, is hitting that. It is getting heated up. It's getting heated up by the food itself. So we need to make sure that that place is kosher. So we're going to use it two places. Now, what happens? Let's say if you work here's an example. You work in a non-Jewish office that has a microwave. Now, if you're ever gonna want to heat up your food in the microwave, what are you gonna kasher it each time? First of all, it's 24 hours, and you're gonna get everyone else nuts to
Let's use it.
Okay, so to not use it for 24 hours, and then you're gonna kasher it seems kind of silly to go through all of that. So another way to get out of koshering, one way to get out of koshering it is to, like what you mentioned, to have a hermetically sealed.
This is only in the oven, not in the micro. Micro not allowed to tin. In the micro,
Oh, right,
you're not
in
allowed
tin.
to use tin.
Right.
Only in the regular
Right.
oven.
So you're gonna put it in a plastic. If you ever look this is let's say you buy plastic containers, and then it says you're able to use this in a microwave. So one way is you put the food in a bowl that's covered. Now it needs to be a type of covering that the steam won't
Go in.
go in and the steam won't go out. meaning it's just going to stay within that space. So then it's as if it's its own oven. It's not hitting the walls. Now the walls are not kosher. For let's say the walls are not kosher. The floor of the microwave is not kosher, but that's we're not trying to eat the walls or whatever, right? We're not trying to eat the microwave. We're trying to eat the food that we're heating up. So as long as the heat, as long as the food um, is not directly being touched by something that's not kosher, so then there's no issue. So then that is another way to get away to get away with koshering. Now, the problem with that, if we have to make sure that that it doesn't, if if you ever use one of those plates that are fully covered, you could see if you put it in for too long, you'll see that it might pop, or almost always that it pops. So then, if it
it goes inside, cover just actually
Yeah,
plunges inside of the plate.
it's
Yeah.
not,
but then it opens up a little sometimes, no? I've seen
If
with
you put
myself.
double wrap, it will definitely.
Oh,
play
it's
with
double wrap?
inside.
So maybe
If you
with double
put
wrap
more
is
than-
no
just
issue.
don't put it more than 1.5 minutes.
Okay, so maybe that's
It's
why.
more like it's like
Uh-huh.
then it's
So maybe
not
it's
so
a
hard.
short period of time. So then
no, it's good enough.
Yeah,
so especially if something, let's say with Pesach, when even a little bit, even a small percentage of chametz will create something to be chametz. So Rabbanu will usually say with Pesach to just buy, if possible, to just buy a separate Pesach microwave. Because even if we are going to kasher it and then even hermetically seal it, there is a possibility first that there's the issue with the vent, and then there's the issue with if there's the issue that when you're covering it, it might flats, it might just open up, and now you have chametz food right there in your face. So that's why we're not going to. Most won't say if you're not able to buy another microwave and you want to use the microwave, so then it's important to just ask Rav all the details because the Rav will know what's possible for you, and a lot of this is usually not a it's not a midoraisa issue. It's not a isur midoraisa. Some of these things. So if it's inherently something that the rabbanim instituted, so then the rabbanim will have more leeway to say that it's not applicable in your situation. So that's also important to ask a rab. Even for something like Pesach, you might you might be able to get away with just covering it.
you're talking about Pesach. I was visiting someone very rich, went to the kitchen, I think last year, and he told me, push this button in the kitchen. I pushed the button, the water turned on. He has another kitchen only for Pesach. Everything else in is for Pesach.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. I was like this. Big kitchen, he had all the appliances on it. He said, we don't touch it. It's closed all year.
Right.
I said, "Hallelujah."
Right. Like for example, when we got COVID, when the first Pesach of COVID, many people had to change of plans that they needed to have Pesach at home. They were and like for example, me, this was the first time during COVID was the first time that I made Pesach on my own, like with my family. We usually went either to my in-laws or to my parents for Pesach. This is the first time we're having Pesach, but then so we need to establish what are our guidelines. Are we gonna use the different types of foods? Are we gonna use the oven this way, that way? Are we gonna buy a new oven? We're gonna buy this and buy that. And now, right. But the Rabbanim right away realized what's going on. And they said this is a completely different situation. When you're this is not like trying to we're not trying to institute our family minhagim this year. Like you don't have to start thinking, oh, for the next however many years you're gonna make Pesach at home. you're going to want to use this type of food, that type of food, this type of matzah. We're not. COVID, we're not, is a whole different situation. So that's something like that. A Rav is able to tell you. If you would have looked in Shulchan Aruch, you might not be able to find such an instance that is going to negate all your minhagim because of COVID. So, but something like that, obviously, it's important to ask a Rav, because even if you're going to want to just get away with take every chumrah in the book, but the Rav will be smart enough to realize what's actually more healthy, both both for our animal soul and also for our spiritual support with our godly soul, so that we could be upstanding Jewish human beings. So Atzlacha Rabbi in finding, to ask the Rav, just try not to call all at the same time. Maybe he's on the flight now. If you want to ask him what to do by your microwave, just don't call at the same time.
I like the other guy's suggestion. You have a separate microwave, push the button, and then you.
It's unbelievable. I saw them. I have them like this.
Like imagine if you have two different glass, you have one microwave and two different glass bottoms.
That's good.
If the whole issue is just the glass, that was like the most lenient opinion. That it's just you're actually touching something that touched the fleshig and milchig. Okay, so you just have two different glass plates, and there's no need to kasher. That was the most lenient opinion, but that's not accepted by most rabbinic.
Right. 2 glasses no good.
I'm not going to tell you if it's good or not good. There are some that say that, or maybe one or two authorities of all time that said that that's really all that's needed. Yeah. Okay, Hatzlacha Rabba. And tonight is going to be a shir at 8:30 to 9:30 on a sicha about if we're allowed to make hachlatas. Ever heard of a hachlata, like making a positive base? Oh, if we're allowed to make a bli neder, but how are we allowed to make a hachlata if we don't have power over our own actions, so to speak? We don't know what we're going to do. I mean, that's a very blunt way of saying it. But, we'll get there. Through the sikha, we'll get there. Fine. Nice to meet you, Ilan. You're in Eretz Yisrael. Where are you these days?
Yes, in Eretz Israel, in near Netanya.
Oh, very nice. I was in Netanya.
Oh, okay, good. So you know the turf.
Yes. Netanya is a holy place. All Eretz Yisrael is a holy place.
Sure.
Fine. So you could give blessings. You could give us all blessings from the Holy Land.
And if you help me with what words to say, I'll give you the blessings.
It's all from our heart. We don't even have to put it into words.
Then
Fine.
that was already there.
Yes. Okay. Hatzlacha Rabba.
Thank you. Amen.
Have a good day.
Bye. Thank you. Shabbat tov.